You're watching TAG TV.
Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I am Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 11th of April. One soldier killed in encounter with militants in India's Jammu and Kashmir. Indian Prime Minister inaugurates International Energy Forum meet in New Delhi. And Afghan President Ghani calls on troops to protect civilians during operations. And now for all the details. A soldier was killed in an encounter between security forces and militants on Wednesday in Kulgam district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. The gun battle was still underway till the last reports came in.
A soldier was killed and two others injured in an encounter between Indian security forces and militants on Wednesday in Kulgam district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. The Indian forces cornered militants in South Kashmir in the search operation that started on Tuesday night following the information of the presence of militants in the area. The gun battle was still underway till last reports came in. The encounter comes on the heels of one of the most active times in the province where 12 militants were killed and another captured in 3 separate encounters earlier this month. India accuses Pakistan of training and arming militants and helping them infiltrate across the border. Pakistan denies the allegations.
Pitching for responsible pricing of oil and gas, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday said India needs energy which is accessible and affordable to the poor. He made the remarks while addressing the inaugural session of the 2-day International Energy Forum in New Delhi.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday called for reasonable and responsible pricing to provide easy access of affordable energy to all. Speaking at the 2-day International Energy Forum or IEF conference in New Delhi, the Prime Minister said efforts at artificially distorting prices were self-destructing. He said it is in the interest of oil producers that consuming markets grow.
My vision for India's energy future has 4 pillars: energy access, energy efficiency, energy sustainability, and energy security. Energy in general and hydrocarbons in particular are an important part of my vision for India's future.
IEF is the second big summit of energy leaders in the Indian capital city in less than a month's time after the International Solar Alliance Summit in March. Petroleum ministers from 42 countries are scheduled to attend the 2-day meeting. The summit aims to improve policy and investment decisions through increased knowledge and experience sharing.
A former Pakistan envoy to United States, Hussain Haqqani, on Tuesday said militancy was hurting Islamabad's relations with the US and India. He made the remarks on the sidelines of the launch of his book, Reimagining Pakistan, in New Delhi.
Former Pakistan ambassador to United States Hussain Haqqani on Tuesday said militancy was hurting Islamabad's relations with Washington and New Delhi. Haqqani, who served as ambassador from 2008 to 2011, made the comments on the sidelines of the launch of his book, Reimagining Pakistan, in New Delhi. Haqqani also called on the Pakistani military to stop interfering in the country's politics.
Terrorism has become an issue that is now hurting not only India-Pakistan relations but also US-Pakistan relations, and many other countries are becoming negative in their approach to Pakistan. Militarism and militancy is not going to ensure a better future for Pakistan. Pakistanis will start loving their military when the military stops interfering or intervening in politics.
The US government in January said it was suspending at least $900 million in security assistance to Pakistan until it takes action against militant groups operating on its soil. Pakistan has long rejected accusations that it fails to tackle militants battling the government in neighbouring Afghanistan and US-led foreign forces there from sanctuaries on its side of the border.
Moving on. Residents of Gilgit-Baltistan recently issued threats to shut down the China-Pakistan border. They alleged that over 50 women of Chinese origin married to some locals in the region have been detained by Beijing without any charges. They demanded Islamabad should look into the matter or else it may affect relations between the two countries.
Threats of shutting down the China-Pakistan border were issued to China recently by residents of Gilgit-Baltistan, who alleged that over 50 women of Chinese origin married to some locals have been detained by Beijing without any charges. Urging the Chinese government to immediately release the families, including children of the Gilgit-Baltistan traders, an all-party conference demanded to run the affairs of the China-Pakistan trade as per protocols agreed upon. They said if the matter is not resolved immediately, it may harm the relations between Pakistan and China.
के हामिल तिजारती बरादरी को अंदरून चाइना तक रसाई दी जाए, नेक्स्ट बॉर्डर पास का चाइना के अंदर स्टे का दौरानिया बढ़ा दिया जाए.
Locals said they have been crossing over to China since ages, with many traders marrying Chinese women on business visits. They said Islamabad has for long neglected their just demands and is still ignoring their calls.
In news from Afghanistan, Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani on Tuesday called on the security forces to ensure safety of civilians during operations against insurgents. He said that civilian casualties in the name of war were unacceptable.
Afghanistan's President Ashraf Ghani on Tuesday called on Afghan security forces to make sure civilians are protected during operations against insurgents. He said that civilian casualties in the name of war were unacceptable. While addressing a gathering in Khost province, Ghani asked residents and religious scholars to support the peace process in the country. Ghani's remarks came a week after there were reportedly several civilian casualties after the Afghan Air Force carried out an airstrike on a madrasa in Taliban-controlled area in Kunduz province. Government said 15 Taliban members had been killed in the strike. However, residents claimed the death toll was much higher and that only civilians were killed. Following conflicting reports, Ghani assigned a fact-finding team to investigate the incident. The probe findings have not yet been released.
More on news from Afghanistan. The Afghan government, along with Canada, held a construction celebration in Kabul recently to mark the start of work on a new housing project called Women's Police Town. The residential complex in the Afghan capital would house 300 Afghan police women and their families.
The Afghan government, along with Canada, held a construction celebration at Resolute Support headquarters on Monday to mark the start of work on a new housing project called Women's Police Town. The secure complex will be built on the grounds of the Afghan Interior Ministry in Kabul and will provide police women with a safe and secure environment to live in. US and NATO commander in Afghanistan, General John Nicholson, said the residential area would house 300 Afghan police women and their families.
پروژه شهرک پلیس زن نشان دهنده اهمیت زنان در نیروهای امنیتی افغانستان است. این یک گام حیاتی در راستای از میان برداشتن موانع بر سر راه خدمت زنان و مدغم ساختن زنان و مردان است که در امنیت افغانستان همکاری کردند.
همه ما می‌دانیم که زنان ویژگی‌های خاص و مثبت در قسمت حفاظت جامعه دارند.
Female attrition in the Afghan security forces remains an ongoing concern, and efforts to mitigate this include increased construction of secure women's facilities.
Moving on to news from Nepal. A 37-member youth delegation from India, which toured various places in Nepal, got a chance to interact and observe the cultural and emotional aspects of India and Nepal. The delegation included students from leading educational institutes of India.
A 37-member youth delegation from India, which toured various places in Nepal from April 4 to April 11, got a chance to interact and observe the culture and emotional aspects of India and Nepal. The Youth Exchange Program was an exchange of culture, heritage, ideas and people-to-people contact. The Indian delegation was in Nepal on the invitation of Nepal's Ministry of Youth and Sports. The delegation included students from leading educational institutes of India.
This is the youth exchange program of Nepal, but this is not only youth exchange program, this is the exchange program of culture, heritage, ideas. Even the people-to-people contact is more nurtured due to this program.
The main objective of the Youth Exchange Program was to promote people-to-people contact between both the countries. The 8-day visit was part of a pact signed in November 2014 between the governments of Nepal and India.
Scientists in India's central Chhattisgarh province have claimed to have found anti-cancerous properties in 3 native rice varieties. As per the researchers, cancer cells can be killed by these varieties and are effective for the treatment of lungs and breast cancer.
Scientists in India's central Chhattisgarh province recently claimed to have found anti-cancer properties in 3 native rice varieties. The research has been conducted by the Indira Gandhi Krishi Vishwavidyalaya or IGKV in the provincial capital Raipur city. Cancer cells were killed when treated with extracts from Maharaji, Layacha and Gathuan varieties of rice.
हम लोगों ने 4 वैरायटी पे इनिशियली इनको टेस्ट किया था, तो 4 वैरायटी में 3 वैरायटी हमारी हैं जो महाराजी, ललाइचा और गटुवन, ये तीनों वैरायटी में एंटी कैंसरस प्रॉपर्टीज़ निकली है। इनने जो ह्यूमन सेल कैंसर सेल हैं उनको इंड्यूस करके इनका कल्चर किया और उसके एक्सट्रैक्ट निकाल के इनमें ट्रीट किया, तो पूरी की पूरी जो कैंसर सेल हैं वो किल हो गई थी।
Laicha was found to be the most effective of the 3 rice varieties capable of curing lung and breast cancers. A consolidated report has been submitted to the Bhabha Atomic Research Centre or BARC to determine the quantity of the medicine to be used on the patients.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. 1 soldier killed in encounter with militants in India's Jammu and Kashmir. Indian Prime Minister inaugurates International Energy Forum meet in New Delhi. And Afghan President Ghani calls on troops to protect civilians during operations. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
You're watching TAG TV.